Howdy, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Reseller Niche Podcast. How's it going over there, Russ? Now we actually have a really big weather update. How about you let us know what it's like over
Oh,
there?
what's going out here is, of course, today is September 12th. We are dealing with Florence out in the Atlantic. I am in Savannah, Georgia, so we are coastal. So we have to constantly watch. We are expecting, they're changing some maps around. We're expecting to get some type of weather. Of course, you don't know if you're about 12 to 18 hours out exactly what these storms will do, so you have to be prepared. So, how about you out there with the fires? Or how's the fires going out in California?
Yeah, they're kind of all over the place. I've done this weird thing where we've kind of cut off like all news channels. So it's like it depends on when I check in. So I don't even know what fires were because technically there's none that are close by me. By close, I
Right.
mean within like 40 miles, but they're out there. And it's just the beginning of the season too, so it's only going to get worse, unfortunately. Um, if it's anything like last year, at least.
You know,
So
that kind of those two items kind of lead into the topic that we have talked about.
exactly.
Um, it is something. Weather is something that can be detriment to your business.
Yep. Yep. And our topic for this week was basically roadblocks in your eBay and Amazon business, things that kind of stop you in your tracks. Maybe it's from life, maybe it's from business, maybe it's from who knows what that you didn't think about. So,
Years ago, I read a book by a gentleman by the name of Andy Andrews. He was a comedian, and he put a book together called Storms of Perfection. And he's talked about storms in your life, and the book was letters from famous people that have made it, and what kind of storms they went through, and how that made them, how it helped perfect their skills. So I often think of that when you have the slowdowns or you have the storms that can cause problems, the fires. Everybody puts out fires in their house. Everybody deals with storms in their life.
yeah.
So how do you deal with it? How do you keep it going? Keep it consistently, or how do you even get through it emotionally?
Yep.
Yeah, that's the big thing. And changes can also be storms. I mean, you've been through one of the one of the most stressful times that a family can go through is the
Yeah.
move.
Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know, I moved probably about 100, a little bit over 100 miles for the Bay Area to the Sacramento area in the last couple of months. And it was something, even though it was planned, even though we thought, it's going from here to there, it's not far. It's within the state, it's within, driving distance. It's taken forever. Like there's still literally boxes that I have in my mom's garage that we haven't picked up yet. Um, there were eBay items that I had up for sale that I had for some reason left behind. Like there was
Oh,
something. Yeah,
that's stressful. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And I had literally put a 10-day handling time on purpose. And we can go into that whole thing. But long story short, it was more than what I expected. And it's kind of when, moving, nobody likes it. It's something you can never really prepare for fully, even if you've done it before.
Right, and you can find out too that a short haul move like that can be rougher than a long haul move.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
because you think, oh, it's only an hour and a half. I'm only an hour and a half away. I'll just, what are you, 90 miles, you within 100 miles, and you're like, oh, we can just go back and forth. Well, all of a sudden, back and forth is 4 hours
It's a
out of
lot
your
of
day.
trips.
That's
Yeah,
a
I,
lot
I
of trips.
remember
Yeah.
when I was first thinking about moving, Russ just said, you know what, you're going to get rid of everything, right? And then in my mind, I'm like, yeah, we're going to get everything, but I'm going to keep, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And a little bit of this and a little bit of that turned into, I don't know, 20 trips back and forth.
Yeah, it almost is, especially with our skill set, and I think you found that out too. It's if you're a reseller and you need to move, even if it's 50 miles, just sell it all.
Exactly.
And I mean, if you got family heirlooms, and that, I'm not suggesting that, but sell it all. You'll find we can find the stuff. I mean, you found furniture up there. You said even better,
Yeah.
and even less expensive. So.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. I mean,
Yeah.
like mattresses, furniture was definitely cheaper up here. So I mean, yeah. Long story short, I should have taken that advice. I should have just gotten rid of everything and started 100% fresh. Just take your toothbrush and your car keys.
It it's hard to now eBay inventory is a different story. That's
That's
money,
true.
right?
Yeah.
I had a couple boxes of eBay inventory. I carted around the nation with me, so it ended up back here in Savannah. So yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah,
the weird thing was, I ended up moving. I was probably about 50% hard goods, 50% clothes on eBay, and like I don't know, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, and then I said to myself, okay, I can't get any hard goods anymore. I'm just gonna pick up small items of clothing. Turns out that I ended up picking up way too much clothing, so I had like boxes and boxes and boxes, and then then unfortunately one time I had a tub that ended up having to be completely relisted. It had like 30 items in it. So I mean, that kind of stuff, just one mislabel, and
yeah.
that's it.
You've got to do now. And you just do. That's the thing. I mean, I know you've done a lot of late night listings and catching your listings back up, and that's something we've always talked about is we just do whatever it takes
Yeah,
to get it done. And sometimes, um, you can wear yourself out. That it's I had even with being on the road and then working in the oil fields, and then we wanted to come here so bad we didn't finish the trip out. And we immediately hit the ground. I hit the ground running. We had a place to furnish. We had, a business to start up, basically start up. And I ran and ran and ran and ran. And then one day I went, I'm empty. I'm done.
yeah,
And literally stopped for like 3 days and didn't hardly speak. Didn't hardly, I just was being. And I needed those couple of days to just recharge,
yeah,
I mean, literally, Mo, I was there. Some people say, "Oh, you're depressed." No, I was actually empty. It was just a literally, I'm not done. I'm just empty,
yeah.
and you can get to that point, and that's a roadblock, that you have to make sure you get past.
Yeah, I mean, I know what you hit the proverbial wall. I think I hit that a couple of times actually the last couple of months.
Yeah,
Uh,
you can.
it's just, yeah,
You
exactly one of those things. I mean, and figuring out how to restart, that's another thing. Because we got here, we got kind of semi set up. You get internet, you get, a computer set up, and then you're like, now what? And then just, I mean, in the terms of sourcing again, for example, figuring out where to source, what's good here, what's not. I don't do a lot of OA generally,
right.
so I'm starting to look into that more, only because I just don't know my local area very well yet. I mean, it's just one of those things. You kind of have to figure it out along the way.
You getting? Um, that's something more and more that we've talked about. We've talked about it. We can always source online. That's something more and more that I feel I need to work more on because there are times when I can't source physically that I cannot source. So there's another roadblock, and that I guess the greatest thing about roadblocks that if you've ever if you use the metaphorical term roadblock,
Yeah,
it's a roadblock. So what do? You find another route.
yeah, Yeah, like we literally had one of those weeks where it was like, the car battery went out, and like, okay, so how do I source today? I'm gonna wait, until the tow truck gets here so I can get, jumped. Um, Little things like that. So that's why it's always good to have a kind of a mini backup plan sorted out, because that's what I didn't have. And I don't know. I'm starting to figure that out a little bit now. I'm starting to figure out a mini route to where, okay, this store is better than this store. I can source this kind of stuff here. I will say garage sales are kind of, it's a mixed bag so far, because I haven't figured out the better areas and the worse areas.
Gotcha.
That's one thing. So what I would say is, just based on what I've just gone through, um, take your time and start taking notes. Go back to square one. Just say, you know what, I'm on day one, like Jeff Bezos likes to say, and figure out, okay, this didn't work, so maybe, like you said, what is possibly going to work? Can I go from there?
What's it? You know, what do they do in sports if you have a team that is faltering? What do the coaches always say? Let's go back to basics.
Exactly.
And sometimes, and there's really no problem. I fight. I fight a lot of internal struggles, and I always think that most people do, because that's just, it's kind of like you think everybody's doing it because you do it. So I kind of feel like a lot of people do fight that internal struggle of, oh man, I got to start over, back to basics. And well, then that self-doubt starts hitting you. Well, you dummy, you've done this for X amount of years. Why do you have to start over? But it's sometimes tell that little part of your brain, shut the up, because it takes that. You got to go back, just start. It's not a start over.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, I can remember one time I said, what would happen if I completely lost everything? And I said, it wouldn't take, and I'd say, man, it took me 15 years to get to this point. And some guy said, well, but it's not going to take you 15 years to get back, because you've got the knowledge now. And
Yeah.
he said, start over. It's no big deal. And so restart, do whatever. Of course, if we're dealing with eBay, we're dealing with constant changes in the algorithms to get eBay working or selling. So isn't that kind of the same way with just your own business? You got to constantly
Yeah.
tweak, Yeah.
No, it is exactly. It's funny you say the algorithm, because I remember a couple months back I was talking about tweaking. I still believe in that. Just tweak every single day. What I did notice is, if you do that for too long without adding new inventory at all, like if you go like a week, 2 weeks, in my case, I went like 2 or 3 weeks without being able to list new inventory at all.
Right.
That tweaking doesn't work quite as well as if it's mixed in with new inventory. And I noticed that the sales really started to dip, like big time. So
we do that with we should think about doing that, talking about that as our personal thought process. We got to tweak daily.
Oh yeah. I've heard a lot of other people talk about it, and I agree with it 100%. The algorithm, nobody really knows how it works, but I believe that it works from tweaking, changing, whatever you want to call it, but constantly. And it likes different things. For example, one of the things, my simple tweak is, I go to the title and I'll change it, and I go to the price and I'll change it. For example, if I have a shirt that was listed for $29.99, and I'll go up to the title and I'll say, first of all, what I mean by tweak is, you want to see if you can optimize it to the best way possible.
Right.
I know people throw that word out a lot. What does it really mean? I mean, for your item, what are the people that are selling it using in their title? So the easiest, like if you tweak it today and you tweak it next week, something could have sold in between those 2 times. You're hoping something's going to sold. So you can go and look at it and say, hey, look, this guy sold XYZ shirt for $35. I have it for $29.99, and he sold his. What's he doing different than me? So that's an easy way of finding out how to adjust your title. Another thing I noticed is that if you tweak the category, it sometimes helps. The only difference is that changes the stuff below, the different questions that it asks you. So you may lose those, but in the long run, it might be better because maybe you have I don't know. It's outerwear, for example. Because I've been doing a lot of like Under Armour shirts, like you're wearing right now. I've been listing a lot of that stuff, and because of the summertime, and I noticed that the eBay, like you said, the eBay updates had this weird thing where some of my listings were not going through anymore because it was asking for a secondary, something, a subcategory or something. So little things like that, and seeing that and adjusting that could help you.
Yeah.
And I think that's what eBay's looking for too.
Getting past that, you got past that roadblock, just
eventually, yeah.
Yeah. You just got to keep tweaking and keep adding. That is the only consistent thing I see working in eBay. The promoted listings, I don't think, or I haven't seen. I've seen promoted listings after.
Yeah.
After now, hopefully by next year we won't be talking about promoted listings. I would hope. I did catch a lot of people are talking about how, the update, the 14-day waiting on sales.
Yeah.
How that going. And yes, it happens, but there's always somebody out there that has beat that roadblock and just continues to make money on eBay.
Yeah.
It's a constant change. And that's the biggest roadblock that we humans, that our human minds deal with, is constant change.
Oh, yeah. And I think that, I see what they're doing. They don't want you to put it on sale immediately. I get that. It's kind of funny in a sense, though, because they have other emails that kind of go against that. Like, I don't know if you've seen, I've seen two emails in my last couple of days. One, there's stuff sitting in not my inbox, other people's carts. And if I lower my price by 5%, eBay will email them.
Right.
And I don't know if you've seen that in your eBay inbox.
I briefly caught it, yeah.
Yeah, and the second one was similar. Something about, somebody's watching. Like, you got 4 people watching your items. If you drop your prices 5%, again, we'll send you that. And I personally haven't actually seen one sale from that. I tried it a couple days ago. I've seen no sales from it so far.
I think I posted in the group, Mo, and about something you talked about on the tweaking. Don't only price down, price up.
Oh yeah.
And
definitely.
I had a hat. I had a Kandahar LL Bean hat sitting. It'd been there for 45 days or so, maybe 60. And I priced it up, and it sold. Within an hour.
Oh yeah.
So,
remember that? I remember this is going back a year now. I told you about all those pennants that I bought.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I turned down an offer for like $74 or something. And for some stupid reason, I countered him. It's a 25-cent pennant. It was the dumbest thing in the world. And then, of course, he never responded. That was it.
Right.
And this is like a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, I got it ended. I had them down to like $20 or something like that. So I tweaked it up. I tweaked it up to $29.99, and it sold immediately. So I can't explain it. It's just that. The only thing I can think of is that you got to remember that when you're tweaking it, that same one person is not maybe looking.
Right.
There's millions of people looking at eBay. Somebody else looks at it for the first time every day. So.
Yeah, and that's true. They look at it for the first time every day, and that's the whole tweaking and trying to hit the algorithm, is getting it back up to the top of the feed.
Yeah.
I remember the pennants because I think I send you a picture.
Yeah,
I
I
picked
saw
up
your
a
picture,
pack of.
the hockey pennant.
Yeah, the hockey one. That one sold pretty quick, and I paid $8 for like um, uh, 15, 20 of them,
Nice.
and immediately sold that one for like I think 24, 25.
Those are the
So
best
yeah,
to store too.
nice.
Store in between books.
Just yeah, they were flat too. I mean,
Yeah.
they were nice and flat, and I'm shipping them flat. That was the
What I like about pennants too is you can ship them first class mail, just barely, but you can. And the
yeah.
way I do it is I don't even use a real box. I use a box that I cut open. I forget what kind
Hmm.
of. It was like it's like 12 by what's the size? I think it was like 13 by 8 by 4, something. It was one of those long, thin boxes, but it
Yeah.
doesn't fit in there exactly. So I cut it open and I kind of use it like cardboard. And I use two of them. And I just put them
Hmm.
over and I just tape it together. And it's just
That's
under a pound, barely, because the pennant weighs next to nothing.
they
Um,
they and then I stuck it in a bag, a contractor's
there,
bag. Yeah,
exactly. So then
yeah,
because they're kind of like wool, right? So if
yeah.
they get moisture, that's bad.
You got it.
So
So
yeah, I like pennants, but they're a kind of a long tail item. But yours went fast though.
yeah, I had two of them go pretty quickly. I had a big listing day, and it was over the weekend. So I'm really, going back to our roadblocks on that listing has been really tough for me.
Yeah,
Earlier in the
same.
month, yeah, earlier in the month I was sick, and then literally just got sick, and my listings went down, and when my listings go down, sales go down,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so
it's pretty simple.
you just start biting that elephant off one bite at a time, eating that elephant down one bite at a time.
Yeah,
So we're back up to some decent listing numbers, and we'll constantly increase that now as we get in. And of course, we're coming back to garage sale season. It's getting
wait,
cooler.
explain that to me because it's coming to. I mean, you're
Yeah,
so the weather gets worse, or I guess it doesn't really ever get that bad, but
yeah, it gets so hot, and it's not that it's hot here; it's muggy.
gotcha.
And by 10 o'clock in the summertime, you walk outside, you drenched, and the sun can be intense. But by 10 o'clock in the summertime, garage sales are done,
Okay,
and then people don't want to have them because it's hot, it's a rainy season, um, so people wait. And man, September turned and garage sales doubled, and we'll go into garage sale season now and probably until January. People will constantly have them because our weather turns perfect about this time of year, outside of the storms. But
yeah,
it just gets beautiful, dry, 75, 80 during the day, and that'll run till about Christmas. And then January can get a little nippy. But now we have a lot of the church sales are starting up, the junior league. Everybody has their big things in the fall here. So I should be able to buy enough inventory to last me 4 or 5 months.
gotcha.
Okay. Yeah.
That's nice though. I mean, you've gone off what most people regard as garage sale season. Like I know, I'm sure there's some cities that it's ending this month. Um, for us, I
Yeah.
think we're still good until, I mean, this is California, so it doesn't really ever stop, but it just slows down, I'd say November through January. Um, but yeah, it never really stops here. But for you, it completely starts up, which is kind of neat.
Yeah,
It's,
it ebbs and flows backwards. We
yeah,
typically, it's, I've always explained to people for the difference in the South is we stay in during the summertime. I mean, the
yeah,
weekends we still boat, we still fish type of stuff, but we stay inside most summers, and then we go outside the rest of the year. Where most of the country's reversed, they spend all summer outside and then they're inside the rest of the year.
Hmm.
So
That's kind of neat. Well, I guess that's why we have snowbirds and stuff like that.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
so yeah, let's just hope the hurricane season is not as bad as they're predicting.
yeah. It's I'd forgotten how stressful that can be, and how that can, the just the stress of staying up to date on it, and then you get into typical social media stuff where, no, this one says it's going to go this way, and the European model, you know, people will fight about anything these days on social media. So right now the big fight is, if it's, are we following the National Hurricane Weather System, or are we following the European model?
Oh my
And
goodness.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. And then you're, typical social media stuff. And no, no, the European model says this, so it's kind of.
Does it really
But
matter when
then
people are in trouble? I mean,
yeah, right, yeah, and then Saturday they put out somebody posted, well, the stores are out of water already, and that created more of a run and a panic for water.
I think they do that stuff on purpose. I mean, not to
I
get whatever, but I mean,
yeah.
I hate when they do that.
And by Sunday, the stores had water back, so it was,
Yeah.
it was no big deal. The nice thing about Savannah is we are a distribution center and a port. We're actually the fourth largest port, or I want to say fourth largest in tonnage, but second in product,
Okay.
after Long Beach, California, and New
It's you're
York.
on the Gulf of Mexico, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or
No,
close.
no, no, we're on the Atlantic side.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're in the you're
That's
Savannah.
okay.
Sorry,
Yeah, yeah. No,
I was thinking
we're on
about your
the.
old house.
Yeah, take a which one? Mobile. I've been all over the Gulf and the Atlantic, so I'm very familiar with these things. But yes, Savannah being a distribution center helps us in that aspect, that things come here and are distributed up to Atlanta. So that does help, but it can be stressful. And I thought, I'm 6 months here now, so I'm just at that point where inventory's building up, and I've sold a lot and listed
Yeah.
a lot. And I thought about that storm, and I thought, my gosh, that storm could absolutely wipe me out.
Yeah, they have.
And
I mean, not to get off subject, but I watched a little bit yesterday about I think it's the governor of South Carolina, and they have their freeways are going one way starting
yeah,
today
yeah,
from the coast. I don't know, Myrtle Beach, that whole down the entire coast inland.
yeah. They
So,
originally put in a mandatory evacuation for all the coast, and
okay.
it was kind of a little bit over the top, because, for example, we're 4 miles, about 5 miles from the coast, or from the state line of South Carolina. So that means that everybody in coastal South Carolina was leaving, but 5 miles away, a city of 200,000 is not going to leave. So
Yeah.
it was kind of, and so he's moved that. They do the inburst thing. We can have runs on gas. We can have runs on generators.
Uh,
Any water. I mean, it can get absolutely staggering and crazy.
you see the guy out there with a bottle of water selling for $1,000 or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. They tend to go to jail on that, because that's the gouging. The governors come in and say price freeze,
Yeah.
and if you can't resell too much on during hurricane season. I mean, I think I saw somebody go to jail in Florida for a $15 bag of ice,
Oh wow.
which is, I believe in it. That's protecting the safety and of the citizens. But
It
yeah, there
makes
was a
sense.
guy
You
that
need
so
to live first, right? I mean,
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm all for profit, but also don't take advantage of your fellow humans.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
So
that's during a literal roadblock. Don't take advantage of.
don't.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah, because they will come and get you for that if you're reported. Um, You know, what was another one? Some guy was selling $500 generators for $1,500 on the side of the road. Well, he got popped. I didn't know. Yeah, I remember him in the paper. This was down in Florida. But
He did know, because
yeah,
how did you know that price? You could triple the price on that thing.
yeah. He knew after ignorance of the law is no excuse, right?
Yeah,
So, but it was good. But it's just it's it's life. You know, isn't that just you have storms in your life. You have roadblocks. You have
yeah,
it could all go away tomorrow. That storm could hit us, and this building could come down. But what would I do? I just well
you got
dust
to pick
myself
up and
off.
kind of do the best you can.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what we all should do in everyday life, even with our store. We have a return. You know, returns are not fun to deal with.
No,
Broken shipments are not fun to deal with. So we just go, well, that's part of the business, and kind of focus on the here and now, and what do I got to do today?
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly, and yeah, for me, I mean, just a minor thing. When I got here, when I got started up reselling again, I not only let my eBay go down, I let my Amazon go down. 'Cause, if you don't, as they say, feed the beast,
right.
then nothing happens. And I noticed with that too, because my numbers went drastically down. I mean, I dropped like 80% of what I had because it sold bit by bit by bit. And that was it. And then I noticed that it wasn't until I started sending in a couple of boxes, which wasn't until recently actually, that I started seeing sales again. So that also, I mean, all the platforms, they want to see action, movement, adjustments, tweaking, all of that, even
Yeah.
Amazon. I mean,
You you trickle in, you'll have trickle sales. You
yeah,
yeah, you feed the beast, the beast will feed you.
yeah,
Um, yeah.
exactly.
So it's a numbers game, isn't it? I mean, some of our friends have it right. Put that numbers board up, start working on your numbers.
Yeah. And to be honest, what I should have done, and now in hindsight, I guess this is made easier. I should have probably hit Amazon harder when I didn't have a base to store stuff for eBay, and I should have just been sending in stuff from wherever I was. I mean, some people use prep centers, or you just send it in. A lot of people send it in from, like you did, from whatever city you're in on that day.
Right.
Um, I should have just continued doing that because there was no reason to stop that, but I didn't. So in hindsight, that was a mistake.
Mistake, but you were focused on the task at hand.
Yeah,
Moving your family again, like I said, that's one of the most stressful times of your life.
yeah,
That you don't think it's exciting and stressful.
yeah. Well, one thing it's done is got me up earlier in the morning. The kids go to school earlier. Like in about 15 minutes, they're going to be up. And then, so that's why you'd never normally see this up, this early.
Yeah,
So,
explain to people. While I'm sitting here drinking coffee. We started this morning. Mo started at 6 a.m. on West Coast time. It's 9 here, which I'm a late morning person. So, yeah, everybody say good morning to Mo because he's up at 5:30 to do a
yeah, and
podcast.
I'm generally not a morning person. If you've seen our shows before, we've maybe started at maybe 11:30 my time, like Pacific time, or we've done them in the afternoons, like 5,
Done.
or even I think our last show was like 11 at night, actually.
Yeah, we've done all. Both of us are kind of not morning people, and more of so this is the change. So
Yeah,
good,
absolutely. But I mean, yeah,
good.
I mean, things turn around. Things are starting to turn around. It's not all doom and gloom. Change is good. You just have to adjust to it. I'm probably worse than that than other people, but even I get around to it. So, I mean, it's been a fun thing figuring out stores. For example, if anybody wants to tell me their favorite Sacramento thrift store, I'd be happy to take down that info. I'm still trying to figure it out. For example, I like going to thrift towns around here. They're pretty good. There are no savers close by. I think the closest one is like 45 minutes away. And then they have like eco thrifts, which is another big one around here, which is really overpriced. I haven't really gone to too many Goodwills, ironically, even though they're close by me because they look kind of small. But I'm looking for I like the behemoth thrift stores, the giant warehouses.
Right. Do they have the bins, the outlet there?
Yeah, I went to one bin. I was not too happy with it. I wouldn't know that because there's two of them or three of them around here, so I wouldn't know which one it was exactly. It was in Sacramento. I can't remember the name of the street. I wasn't happy with it at all. It was mainly because it was mainly clothing, which is fine, but
Yeah.
what I saw in the bins wasn't that great. Maybe it was just picked through. It could have been me. I was in the afternoons. That's one thing. People
Right.
get there, 8 in the morning.
How crowded was it?
Pretty crowded.
Pretty crowded. Okay.
I mean, there's no carts left, which is not that bad because I remember back in the Bay Area, they didn't have carts anyway. So I mean, the difference I saw is the ones. I'm not really a bin picker per se. I've been to them quite a few times, but for example, the one that I went to in the Bay Area the most didn't have like the long blue bins. It would have just Gaylords, which are just those 4-foot cardboard boxes. So you're like literally diving in.
Yeah.
I kind of like that because a lot of people didn't want to stick their hand all the way in. I had no problem with it. But with the long blue bins, you don't have to. You just put your hand there and that's it. It's like a foot deep, maybe 2 feet deep, and anyone can do that. And so I like the little barrier to entry because I'll be the one that will at least try it. Even if I fail, I'll try when some people might not.
There's good stuff in the bottom of those big Gaylords.
Exactly.
Exactly. I mean, I found I like the blue bins just because of my back. I can't reach into those deep ones that much.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with you there.
Yeah, but on the same, when we used to go to the one in Shreveport, my brother-in-law Terry, one time I was at the bins and I'm like, where'd he go? And it was rough Gaylords, and I'm looking around. I'm like, he's gone. What? He must have went to the truck or something. And all of a sudden I look and he pops up out of a Gaylord. He would literally climb into them and start digging around. So yeah, there was good. So
No,
you got
I kind of
more.
like that. Like I mean, I don't know. I'm just not used to it yet. It seemed like there were a lot of regulars at this one. The one I went to before, the regulars are different. Well, one thing I will say though, is because the people that were at that one would literally buy the whole pallet.
Right. Yeah.
So, but this isn't set up for that. There are no pallets. So I mean,
Right.
And I've only been to one. I think there's 2 or 3 others.
Wow. That's what's kind of cool. 2 or 3 other outlets.
I know there's at least 2 in Sacramento, or the Sacramento area. In the Bay Area, there's one in. Let me see if I remember this correctly. There's one in Santa Cruz, which is further down south. Not really the Bay Area. There's one in like the Oakland Burlingame area, which is one side of the bridge, and then there's one in San Francisco.
Gotcha.
Those are the 3 that I remember. Could be wrong. I only went to 2 out of those 3. I never went to the San Francisco one, which I will one of these days. That one supposedly is the busiest one and the roughest one, like supposedly. But you get the best stuff, like clothing wise.
Gotcha.
So you get like people camping out and stuff to get in there.
Wear your body armor.
Yes, wear your gloves.
Put your
gloves
battle.
this time.
Put your battle gear on.
Exactly. I mean, this one. I mean, I read Yelp before this, and I had some people say, "Oh yeah, people were pushing in this and that." I didn't see any of that. I mean, I don't know where people get that because I'd say at least 50% of the people there are like kind of, I don't know, smaller people, like older people, and like they wouldn't push anybody. I mean, I didn't see any of that. So, but hopefully next time we'll go earlier. That's my main thing. I've got to go there at like 9, 10 in the morning.
Yeah, get there when they first open and see what comes out. So
yeah, exactly.
Well, that's cool. Well, you'll find them. So that's the thing about knowledge. You'll find them and you'll hit your sources there too.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So I think what we're going to do here is we're going to cap this show only because I'm running into the time where the kids will be
Yep.
up soon.
Got
But
it.
what we're going to, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, tell everybody in your family good morning and have a good day, Mo, and have a good coffee chat.
I will. I appreciate it. So for myself and Russ, you can catch us on our little Facebook group, Reselling Niche Podcast Facebook group. Also, Russ is at The Roaming Pickers on Instagram. And
Oh no, I changed it on
oh,
Instagram.
I'm sorry. We should I should fit this in the
Oh,
title.
I didn't
Russ has
even, I
got a cool
didn't
new name. Why don't you announce that, Russ?
Recommerce Russ.
There we
I
go.
figured
Recommerce Russ.
I'm not roaming anymore as much, so I figured a little branding change.
There you go. Recommerce Russ. So for Recommerce Russ, I'm Mo, and we will see you guys next time. Have a good one.
Take care.